Let's see. We will have to wait and see, speak to the doctors and whether they are involved or not.
Momentum is a word that's often used by managers, players, particularly at this stage of the season. What did that Kai Havertz penalty do for the mood and the momentum of your group?
Well, every result, every performance shifts its momentum, the emotional state of the team, and the fact that we managed to draw the game at the end, obviously, it was a lift because in any case we deserve for sure to lose that game. So yeah, I'm moving to the next one. You have no time, so the moment you finish that game, a bit of time to watch 1 or 2 games in the Champions League, some good games, and then back to business.
I must ask you, Mikel, about Fabian Hürzeler's comments this morning. He says that he contacted you about the comments he made post-Brighton.
Yeah.
Could you share what was said between you, and are you appreciative that he reached out?
No, that's a personal conversation. Obviously, he's made public now certain comments that he made before, and that says, I think, a lot positive things about him as a person. So I appreciate that, and the rest, I think it's a fantastic coach. The job that he's doing at Brighton is really, really good, and that's fine.
Somebody else who has been full of praise for you this afternoon is David Moyes. Mm-hmm. You've spoken glowingly about your relationship with him in the past. Have you spoken to him much this season, and can you give us an insight into how he helps you?
No, I've spoken a few times, especially we spent more time after we played each other in December. But not only him as well, but big part of his staff and the people that are involved at the club obviously have huge memories and a massive gratitude for, because he changed my career basically after my decision to go back to Spain. And then he brought me to Everton. He really changed my career, me as a player as well, and a lot of incredible things that we share together.
Mikel, if you can you just take us inside the dressing room? I know you can only tell us so much, but Sir Alex Ferguson often spoke about siege mentality. Mm-hmm. And with all the noise that is around Arsenal at the moment, is that something that you've adopted, and how powerful can that approach be with the unity of your players?
You just have to go in that dressing room and feel the mood, the energy, and the way we talk to each other, and how much we value the position that we have right now, and how much we want to, for sure, be in the same position at the end of the season. And that depends on us. So the focus is on what we have to do, what we have to maintain, and what we have to improve together.
Final couple from me, Mikel. I know you're reluctant maybe to talk about the Q word. You mentioned that the other day about the quadruple.
Okay.
Is it difficult to not think about it though?
Not think about it? Not really. I mean, if you're in our seat from competition to competition, we're going to play in 7 days in 3 different competitions. So that drags you from one to another. The urgency to get prepared, to translate the message that you want, to make the right decisions, and to make sure that we arrive into any game in the best possible way, it's enough. And the rest is a consequence of that process and how well we do it, which is still very far.
Last one from me, Mikel. I'm sure you're aware of the plight of your North London rivals, Tottenham Hotspur, just now. I recall speaking to you before the North London derby at the Emirates, when I was painting the picture of the Emirates under the lights, the North London derby, and you said, it doesn't get any better than this. With that in mind, do you actually hope that they stay up and you still have this North London derby next season? I
continue to say the same. It's one of the most beautiful games that we have, because when there is that passion and that rivalry, when it's in the right way in a sport, I think elevates the game and the feelings and the emotions after winning to a different level. And it's not for me to say what's going to happen, but I can describe certainly how it's been to play against each other.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. A question about David Moyes. I read recently an article about the way David recruited you. I think it was a pre-season. You played for Real Sociedad, and you played against Everton, and a few months later he got you into Everton. When you look at David's longevity in the game, how special is it in the very demanding atmosphere of the Premier League?
It's just incredible. I mean, for me, that's why he's one of the greatest English managers or the manager the Premier League has ever had. Because to maintain that level and that consistency in many different contexts and clubs, it's just so difficult to do, and people has to appreciate it because it's very rare, and I don't know how many times it's going to happen. You need to have, first of all, some very, very strong values, an incredible work ethic, and so much passion for the game, because he's been through great moments, some difficult moments, and the way he's navigated through them is always conducting himself in the same way, and that's a huge credit for him.
You have 8 games to win the Premier League. Who knows, maybe you win it even before. But at this stage of the season, it doesn't even matter the style of play, playing attractive football, or it's all about winning and achieving the target.
He's playing the best football that you possibly can, and the game demands to give you the best possibility to win the game, and that's it. I was watching. I realized what's happening in the Premier League the other day with a really important factor. I was watching the Champions League game between Newcastle and Barcelona. For me, Barcelona are the most exciting team in Europe in many moments, the way they play. And they face one of the Premier League teams, Newcastle, which are exceptional in their intensity on the high press, everything man-to-man, huge amount of duels, really good team in transition. And we saw a completely different game that I've never seen Barcelona play. And that's huge credit to Newcastle, but this is the league that we are playing in. Have you seen the Barcelona 1,000 passes that every week does it in Spain? No. It was a very different kind of game. Can it be beautiful? Yeah. But Newcastle made that game so well done as well, and huge credit to them the way they did it.
Great record going to Arsenal, but I don't know if many teams have this year. They've got a good home record, but we've done quite well on the road. But look, we've got a bit of confidence. We've been playing well in the last few games, so we can only go and try it against who are probably the best team in the country at the moment. I think that we've done a lot of good things this year, put ourselves in a decent position. We've got something still to go for. Would I like to have done much better in the Cups, undoubtedly. At the moment we're doing a really good job away from home and starting to pick up a wee bit more at home, getting a good result against Burnley. So with 9 games to go, we'll probably have to win a good bunch of them if we're going to give ourselves a chance.
8 games to go. Both teams, I think, have a couple finals coming up now in the run-in, Kaz. For Arsenal, they were the big winners last time out because they managed to win, and then the teams around them dropped points. And then I think in midweek they showed once again there is a real resilience to the side.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely backed them at midweek. And I was like, I very rarely, really go big, and I was uber confident, and I was like, oh no, as a pundit I've given it the curse. But for Arsenal, I know I mentioned they didn't play particularly well midweek against Leverkusen, but I think credit to them to go away in Europe, get a result and not have played particularly well. I want to still be uber confident that they'll go back and win at home. But yeah, they needed a response. I thought they looked tired over there, and they shouldn't have been because, you know, a lot of the players were rested from the FA Cup. So that was interesting. But, you know, this is going to be another big test from against Everton, who are, as we know, very good away from home. But I still think Arsenal need that little bit of a response, bit of energy and a bit of spark, particularly at home.
There's also a psychological aspect to this game in that they play before City, which hasn't been happening the last few weeks. And every time they've had an opportunity to increase the gap, think about the Liverpool game, for example, or the Brentford game, or against Wolves, they haven't taken it. So this is another chance.
It is a big chance, and they'll have to be on their game because Everton have, I think they've won 5 of their last 6 away from home. Only Arsenal got a better record away from home. But it massively in Arsenal's favour is the fact that David Moyes has only won 1 of his last 20 games at Arsenal as a manager.
Hope he's not listening.
Yeah, exactly. Probably turned it off then. And Everton have won once at Arsenal in 30 years in the league. It's just an incredible stat. It's the stat of the weekend. And I can't see that changing tomorrow because of all the reasons you said. There's been 1 or 2 players who were rested in midweek for this, because I think if you were to ask the average Arsenal fan, what would you rather win, the Champions League or the Premier League? The Premier League is that holy grail, and I think Arteta will want his men primed and ready for this game. I think it'll be attritional, but I just think in this war, as you were saying, it will be Arteta who will want to strike first, build that cushion and put the pressure, the scoreboard pressure, as they say, on City and Guardiola.
Yeah, Arsenal 7 points clear, could increase that lead if they manage to beat Everton because, of course, City play later on Saturday. The criticism, Kaz, of this Arsenal team, who are currently leading the Premier League, to me, I can't understand it. Wild, and it's coming from all directions. What do you make of it?
I think they're efficient, I think they're functional and effective. And every other team in football, in the Premier League, has an opportunity to treat set pieces in particular the way that Arsenal did. And you saw actually midweek, if you saw against Leverkusen, they did the same to Arsenal. A kick off and a set piece. They took it serious, and it got them a 1-1 result. But I can't knock them. They're physical. They eliminate risk. If you look about the stats over the last number of years, how many goals have been conceded on transitions, that's why they tighten up. They don't play risk football. They're risk averse, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've seen managers like Jose Mourinho do it of past and not be criticised. I think when Arsenal, if and when Arsenal win their first trophy, I think all that will go away. I think it's because they haven't won in a while, and I think that's the narrative. But I'm not going to knock it because I think it's effective.
I'm with you, Kaz. I think it's the biggest load of confected nonsense I've heard for ages, honestly. And I'm quite strident with that because football is about winning. Yeah, it's about finding a way to win. These are impressive numbers. For the last 2 seasons, they've been disciplined, they've been focused, and they've got those marginal gains. Some teams see set pieces as just an opportunity to get balls into the box. Arsenal see it as an opportunity to score. What's wrong with that?
I'd also say defend them better. Some of the defending in the Premier League against Arsenal has been shocking. I'd also say don't be so lazy, stop giving them away. Because as footballers, you're told to sort your body position out, to not give corners away. When you're trying to block a shot, if you turn your body shape, it goes out for a throw-in, not a corner. They're the little details that I think you're hammering Arsenal, but actually hammering a defending team. Defend, don't give them away. Don't give away set pieces.
If you're able to score from set pieces, right? Football is just about winning. You win an FA Cup final, a Champions League final, the league by a single goal. Nobody cares how you play. You get marks for artistic impression in dancing competitions.
I didn't get them. I don't know what marks I did get, but I didn't get them.
No, but in all seriousness, I think that as far as Arsenal fans are concerned, if they were to get over the line at the end of the season, they will not care how they played, and rightly so.
Yeah.
The idea that we're getting sucked into this debate of there has to be a way of playing that is palatable to the neutral or the fact. Honestly, I'm not there for it.
Well, Arsenal played that way for many years and haven't won the Premier League.
Absolutely. They celebrate it under George Graham, 1-0 to the Arsenal. They celebrate that from the 90s, and suddenly it's become a thing that if you score a goal from a free kick, a set piece or a corner, you're not, as you were saying, efficient, disciplined, focused, researched, and able to find the weaknesses of the opposition team. It's lazy of the teams that can't defend it, and it's lazy of the people who criticise them as well.
Let's talk about their opponents this weekend. Everton, you both have said that it is going to be a difficult one, despite Everton's recent record against Arsenal away. When they met earlier on in the season, it was a very close game. It was a penalty that separated the two. Arsenal left there with all 3 points, but by a single goal. This time around, Everton are also fighting. They're in the fight for Europe. And they want to get that. It would be a remarkable turnaround from the last few seasons.
Oh, yeah, unbelievable. The narrative we've been speaking about Everton to be, talking in relegation battles the last few seasons, haven't we? Now to be going, actually, go on, you can see European football potentially. Go and try and grab it, and everyone else has got other distractions around them. And, I could credit a lot of people. I credit David Moyes. He's unbelievable. What a guy, what a manager, and what he's done. And look at them now, 8th. And, like I said, there's a lot of clubs ahead of him that have got other different priorities. And maybe because of how we are in Europe, there might be more potential opportunities for European places. Was it how's it called? The coalition or whatever it's called?
The coefficient.
Coefficient, sorry. Apologies. And so, you know, you might get an opportunity to be in Europe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think David Moyes done an unbelievable job.
Yeah, just a reminder for people in case they've forgotten, 15th 2 seasons ago, 13th last time out, currently 8th in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's a fantastic job that they've done. He's gone back there. I'm particularly pleased for him because lots of people felt there was a period in his own career where lots of people felt maybe that was it for him. But he's gone to West Ham. He's obviously won them their first trophy in decades. And then he goes to Everton, takes them into the Hill Dickinson and gets them competitive straight away. To be able to get European football in the first season at that new stadium would be an outstanding achievement.
Yeah, just looking at Everton's last couple of results, we know that they've got back-to-back victories after losing 2 in a row. And keeping a clean sheet against Burnley was also very important.
So it's really good that it's going into this game. It's quite interesting because Arsenal have the most goals from set pieces. Everton have conceded the fewest number of goals from set pieces. So it's going to be a real chess game, this one. I can see it being a draw.
Predictions coming up.
That's it.
Later on.
He'll come to it and he'll change his mind. That's right.
Always I said when arriving the last 10 games, 8 games, every team play for something. For relegation, for Europa League, for Conference, for Champions League, for be champion. So it's normal. Every game is not second chances. Now it's West Ham. That still I define the Premier Leagues like it was the league as the most difficult title. So the Premier League always I believe is the most difficult one, and still we are there knowing that if we drop points we'll be over.
Yeah, when we look at the fixtures on the show every week and try and work out who's going to drop points where do we see it? City and Forest is not a match I thought City were going to drop points in. Were you as surprised?
Yeah, I was very surprised because I would have imagined that they would get the job done, but they have lost so many points so far this season in the second half, and they've just not been able to close out games. And we saw how ruthlessly that can be exposed in this game and then subsequently in the Real Madrid game. The goalkeeper's world class, the defenders are top class, but not world class, and they just seem to have a mistake in them in every game, and it's for that reason that I want to say that City will go to the London Stadium and win. The stats suggest that they will. 20 games West Ham have failed to win against them, none again at the London Stadium of their last 9. But it will give you a chance. And that West Ham forward line, they've got the bit between their teeth at the moment. This could be a little bit of a fight to the finish.
It's a tougher fixture than it was perhaps 2 or 3 months ago, isn't it? Given West Ham's current form.
Oh, West Ham, it took him a little bit of time, the manager, Nuno, but he's got it right, and he's got them defensively more solid, harder to beat. Obviously, we speak about the 2 wide players. I know Somerville might not be available, but it took the pressure off Jared Bowen. I felt there was a lot of pressure then, but obviously they've balanced it out. Strikers come in, have done a job, they've been physical, they've been a nuisance, a presence, and adapted really, really well. And they're crawling their way out of it. Fernandes, for me, is an unbelievable midfielder. I think, you know, God forbid they went down, there'd be a lot of big clubs sniffing after him because he's a talented player, honestly, really good. But credit to Nuno, and that's why you pick an experienced manager when things are a little bit rough. And they've started to play some really good football. So it's not an ideal time for City to play them, and they're looking up. But we'll have to see what they are like without Somerville, because he's been their main guy.
Yeah.
So actually, that's quite timely, because this goal that Somerville scores is the reason why he'll be a big miss. He's just got that trickery, his ability to drop his shoulder, go past the defender and score the decisive goal in a crucial game. Yeah, there's a lot of red in this graphic that we're seeing here, but I think as far as West Ham are concerned, they've stabilised, and Kaz made such an important point. When West Ham lost to, I think it was Chelsea, they were 2-0 up and they lost the game, and lots of people felt that was it. That was it. They thought they was as dead as fried chicken. And as far as West Ham were concerned, Nuno gave a series of press conferences where he was very calm. He didn't allow himself to get carried away. He wasn't in the press conference hammering the players, hammering the club, talking about weak mentalities or anything like that, even though he might have thought it. The messaging in press conferences, take it from a media man, it's all important.
Yeah.
You're giving people back pages, otherwise if you go in the press conference and you hammer the people, even if you think you're just telling it like it is, Nuno has got them competitive because he struck the right tone. Tudor is going to take that club down because he hasn't.
Then just for City, obviously 7 points behind after dropping points against Forest, but they still have that game in hand and they still play Arsenal as well.
Yeah, I mean, talk about roller coaster. 1 minute we were like, oh, they could do it again, and then again the consistency over the last week or two has been like, wow. But great for the neutral because the title race, you know, it's been great. But from a City fan, you're thinking, you know, these are their next fixtures, like big. You know,
yeah.
Are you going to bounce back against Madrid? To be fair, under Pep Guardiola, I don't think you can ever not rule them out.
No.
It would be a miracle, granted, but he's the main guy. And then obviously the League Cup final, FA Cup Liverpool, like it is a massive.
Yeah.
Not next 8, next 5 are huge. So.
And then if they beat Real Madrid somehow and if they pull off the comeback, there'll still be a game in between, potentially against Bayern Munich, I think.
Exactly. So thankfully as a neutral, there's a lot to talk about and it's exciting. But probably for a City fan, you're like,
yeah. The roller coaster.
Arsenal are at home to Everton, and because they kick off first, they could be 10 points ahead by the time Manchester City play at West Ham. Despite growing criticism over their pragmatic style of play, Arteta has said today his side are simply doing what it takes to win games.
He's playing the best football that you possibly can, and the game demands to give you the best possibility to win the game, and that's it. I was watching. I realized what's happening in the Premier League the other day with a really important factor. I was watching the Champions League game between Newcastle and Barcelona. For me, Barcelona are the most exciting team in Europe in many moments, the way they play. And they face one of the Premier League teams, Newcastle, which are exceptional in their intensity on the high press, everything man-to-man, huge amount of duels, really good team in transition. And we saw a completely different game that I've never seen Barcelona play. And that's huge credit to Newcastle, but this is the league that we are playing in. Have you seen the Barcelona 1,000 passes that every week does it in Spain? No. It was a very different kind of game. Can it be beautiful? Yeah. But Newcastle made that game so well done as well, and huge credit to them the way they did it.
Well, Arsenal host Everton on Saturday. So could we be set for a fresh twist in the title race? Well, take a look at this, right? Since David Moyes' first away game back in charge in last January, Everton have the second best away record in the Premier League, only bettered by Arsenal. Moyes' Everton have picked up 41 points from 23 games on the road. Very impressive indeed. So, I mean, look, it was interesting what Mikel said there, talking about, you know, even Barcelona have to change their style when they're facing a Premier League opposition, you know, someone like Newcastle. But realistically, Nathan, when it comes to it, when you're going for the prize and you're so close to it, does style even matter?
The same question's almost getting asked of Carrick, isn't it? Is, you know, those 4 games where he hasn't, you know, played so well.
Yeah.
But if he gets Champions League football, does he still get his job? You know, you're so many games away from winning the Premier League title potentially. If you've got, it's like a marathon runner, if you've got to crawl over the line when your legs are gone, you probably do it to ensure that you lift that trophy. But I think because Arsenal have set such high standards of themselves by the way they play, because they've just fell off the boil, you know, it opens you up for a little bit of criticism, doesn't it, just by the way you're going about it. But you know, maybe they're just in a scenario where they're learning from their past experiences. So when they played Brighton the other night, you know, if they played the exact same style, would they have been a bit more susceptible to maybe losing that game? Whereas maybe they played a little bit safer and still walked away on a Tuesday, Wednesday night from Brighton and got back up the road and secured all 3 points.
Yeah, we've seen ex-pros, we've seen John Obi Mikel, I think this week was basically saying he's not going to recognise Arsenal as champions if they carry on playing this way. I mean, how much do you think the players will be thinking, oh no, should we be playing like that? Or is it just, look, this is going to win us the league, let's stick with it?
You win the league. When you win the league, on the back of the medal, it says winners.
Yeah.
Doesn't say we were an amazing team at the start of the season, but as the season went on, it got really tight and we had to really battle. It just says winner.
Yeah.
And in 15 years' time, Arsenal will say Arsenal won the league in 2025-26. I don't know why the fuss is. I think a lot of it's I honestly, I don't. It's all about winning. You've got to win football matches. It's 38 games. It's a slog. Arteta just said there, Barcelona went to Newcastle the other day. Newcastle were a much better team.
Yeah.
They got on playing a certain way and they were a better team. It's so hard. You know, they're playing Everton this week, who are, 7th, 8th in the league.
Yeah.
And it's a hard football match.
We see their away form there, yeah.
That's nowhere else in the world. You know, when we say about European football and we go, we've got 5 teams in it or whatever, and it'll be a Premier League final, you know, we're dominant. We're dominant because of the bottom half teams in the Premier League. You know, when you go to we got Barcelona, Real Madrid, PSG, Bayern Munich. These are top teams. What makes our league so great and so strong is the bottom half teams are so good.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it good. And that's why it's hard. You just grind out results. Arsenal are nearly there. If they win this weekend and Man City have to kick off and they're 10 points behind, psychologically, that's mind-blowing. You're just winning this football match to stay within 7 points and there's another game gone. It's demoralising. Big football match for Arsenal this weekend.
Massive. How key for you is the return of Kai Havertz?
Yeah, massive.
His fitness.
Yeah, man, I think he's a special player. I'm a big fan of his. I mean, even the penalty the other night comes on, cool as a cucumber. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. Yeah, got us keep him fit. It'd be important. There's a lot of games coming up. You know, they're still in the quadruple. You know, they can do the whole lot. And they'll need Kai Havertz. He will have to be fit for them to have any chance of them doing all 4.
Absolutely. Welcome back to Premier League Friday. It's another key weekend in the title race, but is Pep feeling a heat? After that damaging defeat against Real Madrid on Wednesday, he's got to try and rally his team to face a fired-up West Ham tomorrow. Then Real again on Tuesday before the Carabao Cup final a week on Sunday. Some of his selections have been called into question as well, and he's had this to say today.
We won or we lose in Madrid?
You lost in Madrid.
Okay, decision, yeah, you know. It's a bad selection.
But
we won or we lose in Newcastle, the FA Cup away. We won or we lose?
You won.
So the selection was good.
Is that an argument that you maybe shouldn't have changed them for Madrid if you won at Newcastle?
No.
Thanks, Pep.
No. I thought all the time we would take decisions, and Carabao Cup, FA Cup, the selection always I think a lot what is the best for the team. So now it's West Ham and I still have time to think about it. Many plans you have. It doesn't happen. It's just play the game you have to play, and after the game will dictate you have chance or not. So it's difficult, yeah. Not much dollars on the bank, you know, bet for us, I would say. So we'll see. Premier League always, I believe, is the most difficult one, and still we are there, knowing that if we drop points, we'll be over. I've been here struggling many months for the Premier League, and I think we'll not give up or fight until the end without trying. So we'll be more the selection about with 3 days with the travel 3 days later. And of course, we cannot play the same 11 in 3 days. That is not going to happen. Of course, we're going to change it, but not thinking about, truly believe me, otherwise will not be possible until the last day. I will take the positions and I can argue why the decision was the team selection. I will not convince you because we lost.
And in terms of West Ham, I know you've talked about it already. They'll be desperate for points. Does that make them a little bit more dangerous when they're desperate?
Yeah, we're desperate too.
It never fails to disappoint. A Pep press conference, always. Let's quickly look at, I know we're a Premier League show, but just the team selection against Real Madrid. A lot of people said, Nathan, they were like, he's not fielded a midfield.
Yeah.
Are people fair to criticise him about that?
If it comes off,
yeah,
we don't have this discussion. And I think he's probably just brave enough in his ideas, in his genius, shall we say, that he's brave enough to try these things. It doesn't work, okay, no problem. But if it comes off, it's a completely different conversation, isn't it? So I think it's something that we have to, that he's brave enough to try these things. It doesn't work, okay, no problem. But if it comes off, it's a completely different conversation, isn't it? So I think it's something that we have to expect with a manager of his calibre who's going to try new things, because as he's alluded to in his previous interviews before, that he can't continue to win year on year on year with the same crop of players because of desire, hunger, how the players are in their bodies, if they can do it.
Sure.
So it's all relative to him. But as I said, if it comes off,
he's got enough credit in the bank to get away with a selection like that. Totally. Mercer, I need to ask you, because the next 7 days in terms of City's season are potentially huge. You know, if they do drop points to West Ham and Arsenal go on, and then if they do go out of the Champions League, and then they've got the Carabao Cup final, how much pressure is on him, do you think? Because, you know, he's alluded to this potentially being a last season as well.
Yeah, it's a big week, but the thing I would say with Man City, with him and all the players, they've had the top of their game for the last 3, 4, 5 years. So, for me, I don't worry about that. I bet that they will have to perform. Out of all the Champions League games the other night, and all the results, that was the big shock for me. Yeah. I did not see that coming one bit, not one bit.
Yeah, well, Pep is never shy of talking to opposition players at full time. So what exactly does he say? And the reason I bring this up is because, Nathan, you have first-hand experience of this. Yeah. One of the all-timer clips. Let's show this, right? Run us through it. What's he saying?
He's actually being really complimentary.
You can tell.
I think so. What happened? This was my second season at Southampton. The year before, I'd scored at the Etihad, and I think we played really well in the home leg as well. I'm not sure what the score was. But this year we had a new manager, different style of play, a little bit more defensive, and he was kind of just posing the question as to why I didn't play the same way in this game as I did in the last game from a personal perspective, because he thought I was a really dangerous player last season. And I was just saying, you know, with all due respect, I'm just kind of implementing the game plan at which, you know, the manager wanted from us at the time.
So he's trying to get more out of you, even though you're the opposition player?
Basically. But, you know, the season before he was very complimentary behind closed doors anyway, sort of after games. So I think potentially he might have just been a little bit disappointed, it was weird for me, even in that moment. But, you know, since then, he's always, you know, we've always sort of not necessarily kept in touch, but whenever we've come across each other, we've always had a great conversation, and you know, it's all it's him. And you know, I think from my experience, I think he did it to a player before in Germany. I think he did it to Joshua Kimmich.
We've seen it done, a couple of times.
And then now he's obviously done it to a few others, but I think mine was kind of probably the first one in England, and obviously because
you were the OG
Premier
in the Prem.
Because it's the Premier League, it's obviously it's heightened worldwide, isn't it? But no, it was super complimentary, and afterwards, you know, he kind of apologised for that incident, but he kind of meant what he said. So yeah.
Of course. Well, look.
Welcome to the weekend. So I think you've had plenty of time to settle in now over here. So you thought it would be a perfect opportunity to test, well, your Arsenal knowledge and also your Premier League knowledge. So I've got a few questions for you, but if you don't get the questions right, then we've got some forfeits for you to face. What year did Arsenal move to the Emirates, and where were they before?
2005? 4? No, 6.
6.
Okay.
Do you know what stadium they were at before? What was it called?
Highbury.
It was Highbury, but you didn't get 2006 straight away, which means we're going straight in with a forfeit.
Tell us something that would surprise us about you.
What would surprise us to find out about Gyökeres?
I was saying I'm good at cooking.
You do seem like a good cook. Mine would be like, if someone was like, what do you not know about you? I'd be like, my fingers, probably. Were a bit weird. And then people would be like, oh.
Yeah, my fingers is alright. Huh? Yeah, something else. Surprise you. I love a jacuzzi.
You love what?
A jacuzzi.
What? A jacuzzi? Okay. Inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay. Second question. Who was the first person to score a Premier League hat-trick?
Oh.
Think of like the old greats.
Cantona, did he play?
Yes!
Yeah?
Yeah.
What a goal from the Frenchman, Eric Cantona!
The forfeit winner, do you know?
No, if you can think of one quickly. You made your Premier League debut against Manchester United. What was the starting 11 for that game?
David Raya.
Yeah.
Calafiori, Gabriel,
Yeah.
Saliba,
Yes.
Ben White,
Yeah.
Subimendi,
Yes.
Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, me, Bukayo,
Yeah.
Trossard.
Oh,
Now,
so close.
Martinelli.
Forfeit.
Commentate on your own goal like you're a pundit.
So we've got your first Premier League goal prepped for you. So I want you to watch it back and like analyse it, talk through it as if you're a pundit.
Calafiori to Gabriel. Noni receives it wide. Back to Calafiori, in behind to Victor. He looks strong, he looks good. Cuts inside, goes against the defender. Past 1, 2, 3. Goal. Looks too easy. It is easy. It's another goal for Arsenal. And the celebration is there. That's what we want to see. Thank you very much.
Incredible.
That was good.
That was great. You
Yeah.
nailed that. Okay, next question. Who made more Premier League appearances for Arsenal? Freddie Ljungberg. How do you actually say it?
Ljungberg.
So close. Or Robert Perez. You can hear the clogs turning. What are you thinking?
I have to go with Ljungberg.
It is.
Okay,
Do you
good.
know how many he made?
I don't know. Maybe 184.
No, Perez had 189 and Ljungberg had 216. Who holds the record for the most Premier League goals? Now that's easy, so this is a two-parter.
Sure.
Yes. And how many did he score?
260.
Drops for Shearer. Oh! That was Shearer class.
What Swede has played the highest number of games in the Premier League?
I have two in my mind, but I might be so wrong.
Who are the two in your mind?
Martin Olsson,
Or?
Jesper Blomqvist.
So who are you going for?
Martin Olsson.
It was neither of them. Sebastian Larsson.
And Seb Larsson, stunning, simply stunning.
Ah, of course.
Oh,
That's so bad.
are you kicking yourself?
Ah, I forgot.
That's a nightmare.
How could I forget him?
I thought we were going to end on a high there, but we're going to end on a forfeit instead.
Tell us who got the worst fashion in the dressing room. I don't know.
You do know.
I know. I do know. Probably Tommy Setford.
Why?
Even 9 in the morning, you come in and you just have a look and think like, yeah, at least I'm not in those clothes, you know?
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
I think, how do you feel like you performed?
I'm disappointed at the last question, to be honest. That one I should have nailed. The other ones, yeah, it was all right.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My striker.
Thank you.
My
Victor.
striker. My striker.
Can I just say, you know what? Was
He's playing
lovely?
much better.
You know what?
I've been watching these games, playing much better.
What was amazing about watching that? You know, every time we watch one of those sort of videos, you get reminded of something or someone. Seb Larsson.
Seb Larsson.
Player, by the way.
Whoa.
Unreal.
Forgot.
What footballer? Okay, coming up.
And she's wonderful.
And I hope she's so proud
quite,
of you.
It's quite crazy because, yeah, thank you. Like my family live in America, so I only really get to see them once a year. So I took her out to her favourite show when she came to London last. That was an ABBA thing on the West End in London, and we had a whale of a time. So yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there as well. All right, let's turn this back to the Premier League, and guys, walk with me because there's 8 games still left for Arsenal in the Premier League. If Arsenal beat Everton tomorrow, they could go 10 points clear at the top of the league. Now, I would say let's look at all those games, but actually I'm more focused on really, in your opinion, in the games that Arsenal do have left, where do you see the potential, Harry, of Arsenal dropping points?
Well, it's the Premier League, so every game there's jeopardy in it, right? But I think the ones for me that I'm probably most worried about, obviously the trip to the Etihad. You know, psychologically, you want to be going into that game in a good place because of some of the history between the two teams. I know Arsenal in recent years have closed that gap in terms of that fixture, but you still worry about that. And then the likes of West Ham away, you know, towards the end of the season, a West Ham side that will probably be fighting for their lives. Those are the games that I'm looking at and I'm particularly worried about. But you could throw Newcastle in there as well. You could throw loads of games in there. It's just that tough in this league.
Yeah, that City game is interesting, isn't it? Because obviously Arsenal do have to play them in the League Cup final as well. A bit of psychology then, perhaps?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is the thing with obviously the Cup coming up. Whoever's going to win that, we obviously know who we want, but whoever's going to win that is going to go ahead with a lot more motivation and just a lot more kind of kick going forwards. Obviously, you know, it's good when we go to City, it's going to be a tough one. We are going to drop. Well, I don't want to say we are. We might.
Don't do that.
We might. I take it back. We might drop points there, but he took all my games from me anyway.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle, we might drop points, and especially West Ham. Like when you're playing someone that's fighting for relegation, you know, it can be any end.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And I got to say, though, let's focus on Everton, who come here tomorrow. Everton have only won 1 in 29 here at home for Arsenal, which is brilliant. But then again, with Arsenal operating on all fronts, this could be a bogey game.
Yeah, every game feels like, you know, there's a risk in it. And you look at the way that Arsenal have been performing of late, and if we're being honest, the games have felt like a bit of a grind at times, and it's felt like Arsenal have just sort of slowly crawled over the line in some of them. So you look at a game like tomorrow's game, you look at Everton and you think they're going to come here, they're going to set up with a low block, they're going to be well drilled, they're probably going to be quite handy from set pieces, want to hit Arsenal on their counter-attack. They're all the things that Arsenal don't really want to face. So yeah, you look at it and you do think there's the potential for drop points, but can't afford to at this stage of the season, just can't afford to.
Okay, Taylor, I'll leave the last one to you. Score line, give us some optimism.
1-0 to the Arsenal.
There we go. The old score, let's have it. Back to you guys in the studio.
Why fix what ain't broke?